Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another video. Today, I am going to be talking about something that I had been hoping to get done this year. Me and my friend had first talked about it last year, as you can see from this text. Yes, I have a friend that I went to high school with. So we've known each other since the 80s, okay? We graduated in 1988, and we have kept in touch, stayed in touch, visited each other's families. You know, her and her husband lived overseas for a while. We went to visit them. They've visited us. And, you know, we just really stayed good friends all this time. But the thing that we both have in common is that we are readers, like voracious, real readers, okay? She is probably the only person that I know that reads as much as me, and it, you know, really gets into the books the way that I get into them. And as you can see here, probably a spoiler here, giveaway, we took a trip to Austin, Texas. She came down. She lives in Georgia now. Shout out, Renita. Shout out to you. What's up, girl? And we did like a book besties, you know, 3-4 day thing in Austin where it was just all bookish stuff, where we read and just ate, shopped, and had a good time. So I had made us these shirts, and they basically say Turning Pages in Texas. Book Besties, Tracy and Renita, Austin, Texas Retreat 2026. And we're hoping to make this an annual thing from here on out. So I'm excited about the possibility of that. But I just want to recap it for you guys because it was so much fun. So if this is something that you're thinking about, you know, and just wanting some ideas or kind of want to get started. First of all, let me just say, I have seen so many like people doing book retreats and you know, book festivals and things like that. And I think sometimes people, you know, may feel like it has to be something on a large scale, or maybe you don't have enough people to go. If you got one other person, that's a party right there, just you and one other person. So if it's something that you've been thinking about doing, and you know another person who's down to do it with you, do it, you know, and then maybe next year y'all invite another person, or maybe one day it can be something big, but it doesn't have to be that way to start off. And me personally, I think sometimes the more people, I don't know, like if we would have had as much, you know, fun or been able to really, you know, dig deep into the books and have the conversations that we had if a lot of people would have been there. So anyway, as many of you know, I'm in Houston. So like I said, she came to Houston and we drove to Austin, Texas. And Austin is only like, I want to say, if you're just driving straight, which we did, you know, going there, we drove straight there. We left here around 10:15-ish, maybe 10:20 a.m. And we did that intentionally because, you know, a lot of places you can't even check into the hotels until 3 o'clock. But we got there, I want to say, I mean, it was quick because it was a Sunday morning. There was like relatively no traffic, and we got there maybe about 1:15, you know? So what we did is we did stop by the hotel, and I'll tell you about our accommodations here in a minute. But because neither of us had eaten, we had like, you know, had some little donuts and granola bars, fruit, that kind of stuff before we left, but we went and got lunch. So, okay, so let's talk about our accommodations first and foremost. There is a boutique hotel in Austin. It's called Colton House. 5 out of 5 stars. It was an amazing place to stay. It was really, really nice, really close to everything. And the thing that was really, really great, to me, it reminded me of like a little apartment or something. Not even a little apartment, you know, a nice apartment or like an Airbnb. 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths, a kitchen, full kitchen, a dining area, and a living room. Every room had a TV, which we had the TV on for background noise, but not even background noise. It was muted actually, because we was there, you know, for books and for talking about books. But it was so nice. I mean, and it was crazy because it was almost kind of thematic because they had so many areas in the hotel, like, private rooms and rooms, for the hotel guests or whatever, that were set up like libraries. I mean, look at these bookshelves, and this was one of the conference rooms. It was just really, really nice, in all the shared spaces or whatever. I guess that's what you would call them. But what we did is we before we went, we kind of talked about what the reading part of the retreat would be. And so since there was just two of us, we each chose a book. Like, she chose a book a romance book that we read before we left, and then I chose like a mystery suspense book that we were going to read together while we were there. And because of the type of readers we are, we ended up reading another book, but like, she read a book on her own and I read a book on my own. But we did 1201, and that was the romance selection that we did. And then we did Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. And I will be talking about that on my channel, so I'm not going to get into those books on this particular video. But those are the books that we discussed and read together, or, read and then, talked about. And then we read Then She Was Gone while we were there. And it was such an incredible experience because as it stands right now, normally what happens is if I read a book that I really liked, I'll text her and say, girl, you should read this, and she does the same. And then, like, maybe after she's read a book that I already read, she'll text me back, I cannot believe it was so-and-so, or, oh, he is acting crazy, or she'll send me laughing emojis or something about she just finished it or she loved it, and, and I'll do the same. But for us to be reading real time, like, there are points where we were kind of like within a chapter of each other. We weren't like directly on the same chapter because we read at different speeds. But if I was ahead of her, I would wait and say, you gotta let me know when you finish this chapter. And then, like, once she finished it and we're just both looking at each other and we get to talk about it before we go on, and talk about, oh, okay, something's up with this guy, okay, I think it may be this person, kind of give our predictions and different things. So that was a lot of fun. Like, I don't know that I've ever read a book with someone real time, and kind of having conversations per chapter, or per section or whatever. So that was really fun. We went to where we were staying. It was on a street called South Congress. That's where Colton House is located. And we had to drive. I mean, we could have walked, but it's hot in Texas. So we drove down, maybe, I don't even know if it was a mile. And there's like a lot of happenings there. A lot of little shops, a lot of places to eat, just, it was a lot of busy activity when we got there, like Sunday afternoon. And we found this Mexican restaurant called Guerras. And some of the best Mexican food I've had. I don't know. I mean, it's been a while, because the Tex-Mex is a big thing here in Texas, obviously. And in Houston, we have a lot of amazing places. Papacitos is a chain, but it is, really good. And I feel like it was on par with that. It was really, really good. So good that we ate lunch there when we first got there. We went back for dinner that same night because ain't no such thing as too much Mexican food. I don't care. But again, we went back, more reading, we got comfortable, took showers or whatever. Oh, and we went to this HEB because I don't know if y'all follow me on Instagram. I'm always talking about HEB. That's my store. And that, again, is a Texas staple. So the one, like in Austin, it was right in front of our hotel, so we did walk there. I mean, literally around the corner. We went back, parked, and went there to get like some snacks and stuff for the night or whatever. And did we eat there that night? I don't think we went back for dinner at Guerras that night. We went the next night, so we're not that gluttonous. But yeah, because we walked over to HEB, got some waters and fruit and yogurt and stuff for, like the morning or whatever, and pretzels, just things to snack on while we talked about the books. Came back, showered, went back, talked about the books. Now, one of the things I was really excited about potentially getting to do while we were there, Austin had this black owned bookstore called Black Pearl. They closed down. Their last day in operation was July 1st. and we were there like the week 2 weeks later, right? So we missed the opportunity to go support that bookstore. But there is a plethora of bookstores in Austin. So the next day we went over to Book People, which is a really nice bookstore. They had a good variety of books. Two-story bookstore where we did make some purchases there, and it was pretty cool because this is the type of person I am, and I was excited that my friend was down to do the same. Like when I go into a bookstore, you know, like most bookstores, obviously they're alphabetical by author in the whatever genre, and I'm going from A all the way to Z, like looking at titles and tilting my head, looking at the spines, and maybe picking up some books. And then I was able to also, you know, like look, there were books that I had read that I didn't know if she had also read, and I would like recommend, oh, this was a good book, oh, you should try this one or whatever. So we got some books from there, and then we, what did we do after? Oh, we went shopping, looking around for some stuff, just, you know, perusing. And then that night we went back to eat dinner at the Mexican restaurant, and went back to the hotel again. More reading, more book talk, and you know, other conversations. You know, we've been knowing each other for a long time, so it wasn't just all book conversation. But and I was good. I went to the gym one time while I was there. I feel like that was good because I wasn't, you know, like I'm trying to get into my fitness journey, but you know, there have been times that I've gone out of town and not done any exercise. So I felt, you know, like I deserved a round of applause for that. But at the same time, we were doing a lot of walking. So, you know, I got my steps in every day, 10,000 steps. Then the next day we went to, we found this Half Price Books, the biggest Half Price Books I've ever been to in my life. And, you know, we did the same thing. We walked up and down every aisle looking at all the titles and all the different genres and sections they had. Now, I will admit, I mean, we had a conversation about this and came to a conclusion about why this was the case. But, you know, they had all the mystery thrillers, the regular general fiction, and romance. Like, they all had their own sections. So, very few books by Black authors were there, and this was at Half Price Books. And so we were thinking, oh, there's probably a section, you know, because some bookstores do that. They separate, you know, African American interests or Black books or Black authors or whatever. They do that, and which is appreciated, you know, because sometimes when you go into a store, if that's directly what you're going to get, you want to know where it is, just like you want to know where the mystery thriller books, so you don't have to like look through all the things. It was a pathetic selection. I want to say maybe it was 10 books in that little, I don't even know why they had a separate section. But we thought about it, and because we kept hearing too over the intercom, they, you know, the speaker thing system or whatever, they kept calling for people to come to the buy counter or whatever. Half Price Books is a place where the majority of books that they have on the shelf, I mean, they do look like they have some new releases that they probably get, you know, from wholesalers or whatever, but 95% of their books probably come from people selling books. You know, like if I decided, you know, I'm going to sell everything on this shelf, I could potentially go to Half Price Books and they would make an offer for these books, you know. So the thing is, I probably wouldn't do that, right? And I don't think that a lot of readers, Black readers especially, that have these Black books that are, you know, so priceless to them, they're probably not selling those books because sometimes it's hard to get them. Sometimes they're autographed, you know, and different things like that. So that's probably why they don't have any, have a lot of titles, you know, so I'm sure it wasn't anything nefarious. But anyway, then after that, we went to, oh my God, Austin has, I think it was in Time Magazine also, they have one of the most beautiful public libraries downtown. It is huge. I want to say it's about 6 floors, and every there's even like a little cafe in there, a little gift shop, and every floor there they have like little reading nooks, a little privacy area. So like if you want to go there to study or have meetings and things like that, they even have a rooftop deck with like flowers with this incredible view of downtown Austin. But let me tell you something. And it's been a while since I've been to the library downtown Houston. I'll have to go and see if this is the case as well. Because I know in most major metropolitan cities, the large population of unhoused people are downtown in most cities, but that library, it was like almost like a shelter. Like there were people everywhere with, just like how you could tell that all of their belongings were in one bag, and they were like, some of them were like trying to be like over in the corner and like kind of out the way or whatever, but a lot of them were like riding up and down like the elevators. And there was this one woman, when I went to the restroom, she was like leaning over the sink, kind of like washing her hair. And I don't feel, I feel like on one hand, it's not a big deal, because obviously my heart goes out to those people, because you never know where you could end up in life, right? But on the other hand, I feel like if they could have built this huge like library, this public library, that has all this stuff, like, could there not be something similar that they build like for unhoused people, where because they would have to leave, and they probably would have to wait until it opens, and then when it closes, they're back on the street. So like, it seems like there should be some other option or alternative where they could be there all day, if they needed to. And I know a lot of it, they were just probably trying to get out of the element, because did I say already that Texas is hot right now over the summer? So yeah, so that was the only thing I was kind of like, wow, I can't ever remember going into a public place where there were that many unhoused people just kind of milling about. Most of the time, outside on the sidewalks, or they kind of congregate. A lot of cities have what they call tent cities, where maybe they have what do you call it, like the tents, camping tents or whatever, where they've kind of set up their own communities. But yeah, that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. And nobody like did anything or said anything out of the way to us, or were nothing like that. I didn't feel like unsafe or anything, but it was just an observation. And then that night, the last thing we did while we were there, we went to this restaurant, and it's called Space Cowboy. And we were so confused by the concept. So confused. I mean, I kind of got it. So, like, as you can see with the video, a lot of cacti, whatever you want to, however you say the plural of that, but also this futuristic look or whatever. The coolest thing about the concept is they had these little robot, like, subway or trolley cars that brought the food to the tables. Like, so you had somebody come and take your order, but your drinks and your entrees were delivered by this little robot. It opened up, and I guess you had so much time to get it. I think the server told us we had like 20 seconds or something like that. So you got to be quick to get your food out of that thing. Because a lot of people are probably taking pictures like I did, and videos. So she was like, you got about 20 seconds to get your stuff out of there. It's going to close and, go back around. But the menu is what was weird, because, okay, so to me, this is just me, but I don't have a restaurant. But if I did, Space Cowboy, okay, I get that it's futuristic. I get that you have the cactus, you're in Texas. Why not lean into that? What I had was actually pretty tasty. I had some fries that had a bunch of stuff on it that I really didn't even taste the flavor of whatever that stuff was. But they tried to make it like it was, I guess, moon dust or moon rocks or something like on top. But I think it was just like toasted Parmesan or, seasonings or whatever. And then I had these sliders that were really good. But everything else on the menu, it was just kind of weird stuff. Like, and I know like a lot of, like, people who have culinary degrees or that have been cooking or that are chefs, they try to mix ingredients, and they call things certain things to make it. But it seems like a missed opportunity, because I think I would have played more into the cowboy part of it, because I'm in Texas, right? And if you want to give it space names, but like, let's say you had ribs on there. If you wanted to put, sprinkle them with some vanilla or some yogurt, or come up with some kind of dip or something where it's not necessarily the traditional barbecue sauce, which I don't know how people in Texas would feel about that. But, maybe do a play like that, but have some things that people would kind of gravitate towards that they were familiar with. Because even like, let's say, you know, you're familiar with the ribs, but that sauce, I put it on the side. Let me dip. Let me see what it tastes like. But yeah, when we went, there weren't a lot of people there. The restaurant itself is a decent size, but their parking is very, very small. So it's a good thing we had reservations, so we got there early. We had an early dinner around 5:15 because we wanted to go back to the hotel, shower, and kind of chat some more. And we were reading other. At this point, we were on the third book that we were reading. So and then we went home. We're going home the next day, but it was so much fun. And like I said, I hope we get to do this every year at different locations, different, cities or states or whatever. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We went home the next day, and we had been lucky because the entire time we were there, because it was like a rainy week or rainy weekend in Houston all the way, to Austin. But we would get some sprinkles. But when we left Thursday, no, it wasn't Thursday morning, Wednesday morning. Oh my God, it was coming down, and I was like, oh my God, am I gonna have to pull over? But once we kind of got like more on the road, like maybe about 30 minutes down, 40 minutes down, it stopped raining, and we didn't have any more rain the entire way. So safe travels, a lot of fun. Talking about books, beautiful hotel, good food, great company. We really enjoyed it. Yeah, so I would encourage anyone that's watching, my readers out there, if that is something you are interested in doing, start off small, see if you have a good friend that would be interested in going with you. Even if it's somebody that doesn't read as much as you read, but they like to read, just make a commitment that, okay, we're going to read a book before we go, so we have something to talk about. And maybe we'll, find maybe a book that, you don't want to start off with a book that's 800 pages. Maybe find a smaller book that's 200 pages that's actually doable for you to read while you're there, so that you can have a conversation. Pick a location that is, where if it's near your city, you can do something in your city, so that you don't have to worry about driving too far or renting potentially a hotel or anything like that. I mean, it's all kind of ways that can look. You can, if you do decide to do, like, let's say you do a staycation and you just maybe meet for the afternoon, you can go and have lunch. And a lot of libraries, like, in cities, you can reserve a room for a few hours so that you can have a private space and you're like amongst all the books, talking about a book. So there's so many ways to do it. I think that a lot of times people think when they want to do something, they think of like the most extravagant thing, and it's good to dream and want to aspire to that, but you can start off with stuff very small, very minimal, and then work your way up. Just get a feel for it, and how you can add something to it the next time or whatever. So if you have ever gone on a book retreat, whether you've just done one with a good friend, or if you've hosted a larger one, let me know in the comments. Let me know, give me some of the details, and let me know how it went. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video. And if you have not taken the opportunity, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.